my humble pranams at Swami's lotus feet. Dear brothers and sisters of the Sai K Sangh family, spread all over the world and India, it's a extremely good fortune that I'm able to be with you again. Hopefully, I'll continue to fulfill your wish of sharing the wishes that Swami granted and fulfilled for me. This being the New Year day, let me begin by wishing all of you a happy, holy, fruitful New Year. May Bhagwan's blessings be showered on all of you and all your families. Let Bhagwan's grace descend upon all of us. Let us grow spiritually. Let us be his students. We're all not merely Swami's children. We should grow up into Sai's students and finally merge in him. Now, this being the New Year season, today being the New Year day, I just remembered this morning when I was remembering about the talk and gathering the points. I just thought, let me share one experience. It came to my mind, a wish that was fulfilled on a New Year day. Let me begin with that experience and continue the thread that I had developed in the last session. Okay. It was in the year 1983. I was in Puttaparthi that time teaching in the higher secondary school. 1983 New Year, the incident relates to that, the experience relates to that. A few months before that, on some occasion, I don't remember, Swami was talking, or in a discourse, Swami was talking about the mind and the five senses. Swami said, compared the five senses to the two horses. The body is a chariot, the five senses are the horses, the mind is the charioteer. The mind is the charioteer there. The mind has to control the senses. If the charioteer does not drive the chariot properly, the body will go astray. So control the mind, then automatically the senses are controlled. This is what Swami elaborated. I remembered. I liked it. I used to ruminate upon that. A few months passed. Sometime in December, middle of December, we had our semester vacation. Swami had called a small group of students inside the interview room. And while talking, this happened in the interview room. Yes, now I recollect. Then the earlier one, that Swami said, if mind is controlled, the senses are controlled automatically. Then in the month of December, Swami had come to Portico. He was chatting with the boys after the morning darshan. There was one boy who was a yoga expert sitting in front of me. Swami was talking to him, and suddenly I was a few boys behind him, 2-3 boys behind him. Swami paused and looked directly at me behind that boy. But talking to that boy, Swami said, what is the use of how to control the mind? Control the senses, the mind is automatically controlled. Because without senses, there is no mind. Mind is like a cloth. Cloth is made up of woven with threads. The senses and the desires are the threads. If you take it apart, control the senses, the mind is automatically controlled. And he looked at me all the time when he was telling this and went away. I was now turmoil. Many devotees, in fact, some students also have come to me. Swami apparently says two contradictory things on two different occasions. Here was my experience. Swami is telling two opposite things, or something exactly opposite, vice versa. I was in a turmoil for about 15 days. Around December 15th, this happened. For the next 15 days, my mind was in a turmoil. And I was praying, Swami, clarify my doubt in some form. And I was, I'm good. Last time I shared, I'm good at fantasizing. So I was fantasizing, how will Swami clear my doubt? Will he come and tell me? Or will he call me for an interview and then clarify this? Or will he tell here, that? So many things I was thinking. Or will he come to the portico again and tell? 15 days passed. December 30th, December 31st. We heard that Swami is coming to the Institute auditorium for the New Year day. So all the primary school students, the higher secondary school students, and the institute students, Even Anantapur students had come, I think. They were all there seated in the auditorium. I was also there. I'd also gone there. When Swami comes, so the first row, Swami would usually sit in the first row of the auditorium. Around Swami, beside Swami, around Swami, some of the people who are close, the VIPs, they sit next to Swami. Then after one or two rows, leaving one or two rows discreetly, the teachers will sit. And one or two rows later, the students will start sitting, girls one side, boys other side. It just so happened, I was sitting among the teachers and there's no one around me. Probably in a radius of about two chairs all around me, vacant, I was totally isolated. Swami went to the stage, discourse started. I was in a kind of dream state, thinking about that. Swami came, started speaking. Yes, I don't actually remember what Swami spoke, the discourse. But at one stage, at one point, Swami from the stage looked directly at me. You know why I made so much elaborately? I told that I was there was no one around me. I had no doubt that Swami was looking at me. In fact, there's another teacher, a friend of mine, sitting about 2-3 chairs away. You could make out Swami is looking at me. He looked at me. That Swami is looking at me. Swami looked at me then he started saying, some people get doubt. Some people get doubt. What is how to control the mind? Whether to control the body first, control the mind. They have doubt. All these mad thoughts come, pitchy thoughts, mad thoughts come. How to control them? They get these doubts. He actually looked at me and started saying this. Again, when he finished the sentence, it was a long sentence, he looked at me again sharply. The first time when he looked at me, I was seated slightly little, I normally sit very politely, properly in front of Swami. Even otherwise, I sit properly. But that is somehow a little slouching. When he said that, I sat up like that with a shock when he looked at me first time. And I became totally alert. The beauty is that I was so thrilled, excited by Swami addressing that, I didn't listen to the answer what Swami told. Later, after Sanatana Sarthi came, end of the month, the answer is nothing particular or special about the answer. Swami has said that, we all would have heard it. But the experience was how Swami fulfilled that wish from the stage like that, looking at me, still get recall. What do you say? Get horripilation. I feel that. So I wanted to start with that. Let me continue with where I left. Last time I was speaking about the interview that Swami gave us when my sister had passed away. In that interview, Swami had told about my sister, and he also fulfilled my brother's wish about the marriage. And I also mentioned how the marriage went smoothly without any hitch. During the interview, I couldn't mention last time. I'm mentioning it now. During the interview, my father, at one stage, interrupted Swami and said, "Swami, I have 3 wishes." Swami looked at him. What? Asked. Swami, I should die in Prashantilayam. I should not die anywhere. I should die in Prashantilayam. He was serving, as I told you, he was serving in the institute, in the administrative office. Swami, I should die in Prashantilayam. He used these words. Second wish, Swami, I should be cremated in Chitralavati. Third wish, Swami, you should place your feet. Swami should place his feet on my head. Swami very nicely tilted back on his throne, lifted his feet, placed both his feet on his head, squarely on his head. The third wish got fulfilled. Even the first 2 also got fulfilled of father. Actually, after my sister passing away, my father lost all interest to live. He literally, during the next 2 years, willed himself to death. Every morning he used to get up and say, that girl is gone, I don't want to live anymore. He would refuse to eat, refuse to get up. For 2 years, in fact, we consulted one doctor, he said, he does not have the will to live. We used to carry him by stretcher every day, carry him by, there was one person who Swami just sent him. Coincidentally, we say coincidentally, but under quotes, Swami sent one person who loyally served my father. Every day he used to get 4 sevadal get a stretcher, carry father, put him on a wheelchair, take him for darshan, and bring him back. For months together, they did that. And when Swami used to come to Brindavan, he also used to come to Brindavan. I used to come and bring my parents by taxi, and the same routine continued. For 2 years, that person, his name is Siddhappa. Right now, he's a worker, kitchen worker in the Brindavan hostel. He served my father loyally. He just came, he wanted to settle down in Puttaparthi. That apart about that Siddhappa. So my father, after 2 years, he passed away. One day, he passed away. It was the many events are connected with his death. But twice he was very seriously sick. Once he developed a very high level of diabetes and pressure, BP we don't know, but very high level of diabetes, sugar. Once he became so sick, I was in Prashanti Nilayam that time. He became so sick. He started having diarrhea, and he had very high level of sugar. And we took him to General Hospital in Prashanti Nilayam. The doctors found a very strange, two contradicting problems. He had very high sugar level. He saw that it was about 600. He was not sure between 500 and 600. The doctor was so shocked. He said, I'll perform the test myself. The technician must have bungled. That's what he said. That technician must have made a mistake. I'll check. When he checked, he didn't come back to us. Later, one of the nurses said, the doctor found the sugar level was 800 plus, 830 or something, 800. He was so shocked. He told the nurse, this man will not survive when he passes. Tonight he will die. Let me know if he dies. When he dies, not if he dies, when he dies. This was doctor's words to that nurse, who was her family friend. Her parents are known to us. Meantime, he also had a high level of sugar. She had been having diarrhea for about 11 hours through the night. It started about 9 o'clock the previous night, continued till early morning. That morning, I went for darshan. My father was literally, had that, we say, death mask, eyes sunk in, the bones coming out. He looked like that in the morning. So I went for darshan, sat there, Swami came. He saw me, his face became so angry. He passed by me in a very rough manner. He went away. When he was coming back, I went and again sat in front of him. Something he shouted at me. I told Swami, father is not well. Something he shouted at me. Go. Something he shouted. So I came back, didn't know what to do, took him to GH, carried him by stretcher. The doctors didn't know. They said because he had diarrhea, he was extremely dehydrated. He had to be given drip saline to open the tap fully. It should run like tap water. But then he's got high sugar. What to do? So they found a way. It went through the night. Next morning, this happened in the morning. So that afternoon, in those days, Swami used to come at 2:30 for darshan. So I asked at about 2 o'clock, doctor came again. I asked him, sir, what to tell Swami? He said, your father will not survive. You call your relatives, brothers, sisters. I rang up everyone, the close relatives. I went and sat for darshan 2:30. I sat right in the front of the portico. There were boys with chocolate, some boys who wanted to ask something, this and that. All of them gracefully gave way. The word passed around, sir's father is sick. So let sir talk to Swami first. So everyone moved out, gave me first. I was sitting right in the front. Swami came, ignored me. He was staying in Prashanti Nilayam at that time. He came out from the interview room. He passed by me. Our discipline is such that a procedure that unless Swami gives a signal, we can't even get up. We can't even get up. We will not talk to Swami. So signal was that he ignored me. He went for darshan. He came back with a battalion. He came with a group of about 40 people. That moment was what? 40 people for interview. And 40 or 50. Chettiar's family, some marriage, impending marriage. He took them inside. Meantime, students had come. There were two groups of students aligned behind me, waiting for me to finish. One group of students, 10th standard students, whose exams are commencing, board exams are commencing next day. They wanted Swami's blessing. That was tradition. Swami will talk to them, give interview, anything would happen. Behind them, there is a batch of students, MBA students, with whom Swami was unhappy, not talking for about a week. That day, they planned to catch Swami. That was a buzzword in our student circles. Catch Swami means They'll just come rushing, surround Swami, catch him by the feet, by the legs, by the hip, plead, cry. Often Swami will forgive. Or it may go for one more session. Or that is catching up with Swami. They were waiting. The word was that, let's her finish. But Swami is ignoring me. He took the group for interview, 45 minutes. He came out, he took the 10th standard students, they went past me. Swami took them for interview, 1 hour interview. They came out, they were sitting beside me, around me, where the ladies used to sit, the other edge of the portico, lady side of the portico. Then the MBA boys, they saw nothing is happening. They lost patience. They came, surrounded Swami. They had their fill. Swami spoke to them 10-15 minutes. Then they moved back. Still I'm seated there, ignored by Swami. Swami went inside the interview room. Time for bhajan. Bhajan started. He came out, left the interview room, door open. Even the inner room screen curtain also was open. I'm just saying that has a meaning later. He went for bhajan. He saw me, went for bhajan. He sat on the throne. His face turned towards the bhajan hall entrance, where I'm seated there, the first person there. But his eyes are not on me. It was looking up like that. He was seated like this, with a very detached look in the eyes. That's what I felt. Detached look, dispassionate look, like that. He was seated and looking out. Suddenly, a wave of calmness descended on me. Till then, I was waiting. I'd rehearsed what to tell Swami. Swami, this, that, Father, like that, this problem. Suddenly, I became calm. Swami, this is your play. I don't have any wishes now. Let your will be done. Whatever you want to happen, let it happen. My mother or I, we don't want, my brother or sister, we don't want to ask anything from you. I just want one opportunity, Swami. I should physically tell you that my father is not well. That's all I want. After that, let anything happen, we are ready. Swami's eyes descended. He looked at me slowly. It was all in slow motion. He got up slowly. I thought, yes, he's coming. He came towards me, turned left to the interview room, went inside. My mind also went behind him. My heart went behind him. The door opened, the inner room opened, curtain open. He went straight beyond his throne, the throne inside, sofa inside. He went to the vibhuti basket, was fiddling with the basket. I could see that he was putting vibhuti packets inside a white cover. I said, okay, it must be for me. He spent so much time. I was wondering why it's taking so much time to put vibhuti packets into the cover envelope. He came straight at me now. It was clear he came straight at me with a very pleasant look. Smile, I won't say, but a pleasant look. He was holding the envelope against his thigh as if I should not see it. He came to me and asked the question that I wanted. He said, what happened to your father? He asked. I said, father, like this, like this. Meantime, my colleagues who were with my father, they were sending chits, the latest update every 10-15 minutes. What's the BP level? When I left at 2:30, his BP was 50/30. 50/30. Sugar level, I don't know. But BP was 50/30. The doctor was giving dopamine, a stimulant. With that, it was touching 70, 80, 90. Just a few minutes before Swami came to me in bhajan, the last check that had come was 90/70. That was with the stimulant. If the stimulant is removed, it will go down. The BP will go down 50/30. So Swami asked, what's the BP? I said, Swami, 90/70. He asked me, what's the BP? Swami, 90/70. What's his age? Swami, 77. 77 age, BP 90/70 is normal. I didn't know what to do. And Swami is saying, okay, I just sat with an expressionless face. There's one doctor beside Swami, Dr. Bhatt, who was he was the urology expert in Supra Hospital, Prashanti Nilayam at that time. Afterwards, urology department was shut down. That time it was open. Swami called, but he got up. Teko, he spoke to him in Kannada. First, the Swami told him, that normal, no? But Dr. Bhatt looked at me, looked at Swami. Yes, Swami, BP 90/70 is normal. Then Swami turned to me with a smile. Look, doctor is also telling, come on, believe him. Like as if you don't believe me, believe him. Then he gave her put the envelope in my pocket. He said, go I will come to hospital. I'll come and see your father in the hospital, GH. Then I sat. Then just see, immediately, now what is the natural reaction? Any of us, go give this Vibhuti to Swami, Vibhuti packets. I could see that Vibhuti packets were there in the envelope. Swami had spent time sealing it with gum. The flap was sealed with gum. Don't know why. Okay. I saw it. I was about to get up. I thought whether Swami goes inside or not. My duty is to go. He said, go inside. I went inside, get the Vibhuti back. I got the Vibhuti back. Swami said, come. 10th standard boys, their exam, no? So the Vibhuti prasadam for them. He asked me to hold the basket. Typically, when you hold the basket, that plastic basket with handle, with the oval shaped thing, you have to stretch it. Otherwise, Swami cannot put his hand inside. So I tried to stretch it. I'm supposed to hold both. Swami did something funny, which I've never seen Swami doing, to my knowledge. He caught one end of the bag and held it. Normally, he won't touch the bag. Normally, we hold it, we are free. He pulled the bag in such a way that the bag, which was like this, he caught this edge and pulled. The bag went to this angle like this. I was holding the handle, the bag went to this angle. Because of that, I had to go very, very close to him. For the next 10 minutes, Swami passed through the students to a zigzag path which the students made. Zigzag path, because each one wanted a chance for namaskar. They made their own convenient path. Zigzag path, Swami went peacefully, very happily. I went with him. For the 10 minutes, I knocked into his shoulder, knocked into his hair, brushed his cheek once or twice, because he pulled the bag. I had no choice. And people are watching aghast. Some are enjoying, some are envying maybe. I didn't know what to do. A shock, all this. Everyone has enjoyed the spectacle. And every time when I hit him on the shoulder, he turned to me and smiled. Oh, okay, it's all that kind of thing. 10 minutes gave me that joy. I said, okay, Swami, let me enjoy this also. You are taking care of father. Father's life is in your hands. That's such kind of thoughts, but exactly the same such thoughts. After that, I kept the basket, went up, went to the hospital, climbed the hill and went up. When they told the news, the doctors the next morning, the whole hospital was agog. You know why? For 2.5 years, Swami had not visited the hospital, GH. 2.5 years earlier, some patient had died and there was some problem, some complication, and Swami was upset by that with the doctors. This is a fact, so I'm mentioning it. The Swami said, I won't come to the hospital. For 2.5 years, Swami had not come. And when I told, Swami said that I'm coming to hospital, they transferred father to a bigger room. I said, why you're transferring? See, we also get come and stand. The doctor said, we can also have a chance. And Swami sees your father, we'll also get a chance. Said about the time, then we thought Swami will finish bhajan, 9:30. That time, 9 to 9:30 bhajans in Prashant Layam. We thought around 9:45, Swami will come. I was posted, doctors, everybody said, you don't be here. You sit there. The moment Swami's car leaves, you come running, tell us, we'll be ready. At about 9:45, Swami's car left Prashant Layam. I came running. The entire room was filled with doctors, technicians. My relatives also were there about one side. Other side, these people are there, about 50 people in that room waiting, surrounding my father. Swami's car came. I stood at the GH entrance. Swami's car passed by, went towards. So we thought Swami is going to super hospital. All relaxed. After about 15 minutes or half an hour, I waited there only. His car came back, passed by GH. I ran to Mandir. Swami. He went inside, went up. Yeah. Meantime, doctors also said, okay, Swami said, Swami's words has some meaning. Right. Swami did not come. He said, I will come and see. He did not come. But at about the time when we thought he will come, the doctors thought, who was taking care of father, he thought that father's condition appeared better. He appeared to be stable. He withdrew, the stimulant was withdrawn. Still father was stable. At about the time, 9:45, father's BP became 120/76. And from that time, the BP didn't go down. It became normal. Swami must have come in some form, some other way. Father stabilized from that moment. Well, Swami did come. How? This was, I think it was a Monday, let's say Monday. On Monday, this happened. Monday evening, Monday morning, this happened. Monday evening, He didn't come. My job was to wait there till Swami goes up. Because after once he goes up, he won't come down. Tuesday, morning, evening, he didn't come. Wednesday, morning, evening, he didn't come. Thursday morning, he came. Every day, my mother used to go during the bhajan. She used to go, cook food and get it. She used to come literally running. She had a leg problem. She used to come limping, but half running so that she'll be there before Aarti. She used to wait for the Aarti. Before Aarti, she should be in the hospital. On the fourth day morning, I don't know what came over me. I really don't know. Interview got over. Even bhajan got over. Aarti got over. I was seated there. Swami went inside. I got up and Swami had not gone up. Something made me get up. I came. I saw my mother coming. She was running. She was late that day. Cooking was delayed. She said, Swami gone up. I said, Swami is gone up. Are you sure? Yes. I said, let us go back, finish our lunch and then go back. We went back, sat peacefully, ate our lunch, came back after about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. The whole hospital was agog. Where were you? Where were you? Swami came. Swami came. Fourth day. My mother was looking at daggers. I was scared of looking at her. We went into the room. That father was there. He said, Swami came into the room. My relatives were there. 40 doctors, nurses, 50 people in the room. Swami came, looked at everyone, gave a clean sweep, looked around, 360-degree sweep. Then looked at my father and said, what is this? Where is your son, Subramanian? Where is your wife? Both are not there. There's no one to take care of you. He said, then we went near him, created vibhuti and gave. And Swami, I want to do namaskar. Swami gave his hand for namaskar. He did namaskar. Swami spoke to teachers, to the doctors, everybody. They all got the chance. My relatives also, they all spoke. Went away. Swami, my mother heard this, that 24 hours for 21 full day, she didn't speak to me. Now, what is the mystery behind it? Looked around, talked here and there, but nice, beautiful experience emerged. What was that? Monday, let's say Monday, Swami had come. I think it was Monday. He did not come. Monday evening, one primary school boy was admitted with an unusually very high fever. He was admitted, he was in a special room. My father also was in a special room, but he was shifted to a larger room to accommodate. Tuesday, Prashant Liam had this college student, institute student, was practicing for sports meet. This was December, sports meet in January. He was doing some stunt on a bar which was about 30 feet high. He fell from that, fell down at a minor fracture. He actually could have died 30 feet high, fell on rocky area below. It was a slip, but nothing happened, minor fracture. He was admitted in the hospital Tuesday. Wednesday evening, Swami's sister Venkama was admitted with fever. Thursday morning, Swami came, he visited all the four. This is how Swami concatenates things, brings events together. Only his divine power can make it. That's his divine drama. He can stitch so many acts together. Who could have visualized that way? He came, he did come. He did come. So that's how Father recovered. And see the beauty of it. 4 days he tolerated me. Morning and evening has to sit. Like a VIP has to go, sit in the front and then walk away. Anytime. Swami will speak to me. House Father will speak to me. And then I'll go away. 5th day, Friday morning I sat. He said, Nana, how's your father? Swami is fine. You go. You go and do your duty. Go back to Vrindavan. Your brother will take care. So brother stayed back for next 3 days. Next Monday or so. Monday or Tuesday, father was discharged. So that is Swami's level of management. See, this much you have done, enough. Now your duty is waiting there. The father danger level is gone. Even if there was danger, he was there to take care. What I would have done, I was an instrument during that period. He used me for the divine play. I'm so grateful that I was a nice tool at that moment. I really enjoyed that. Then father continued his attitude of not willing to live. After another 2 years, father passed away one day. Again, we are fortunate. I could inform Swami, physically inform Swami. Swami, father passed. Oh, Nana Chinpaeda. Oh, your father passed away. Swami is arranged again for his cremations. All the arrangements were made by the ashram. That day, this is another beautiful incident. Swami, as the ashram administrator, the chief, as a human being, what a stellar role he played. Wonderful for some of us who were there, who could watch some of these things at close quarters, at different levels. Swami came after that. He asked. I went, had bath and came after the cremation. Swami told, look, for your father, I asked, my brother told me to ask Swami what ceremony it will. Swami said, your father, no need to perform any ceremonies. No need. According to our Shastras, we are the Brahminic side. So we have to do all this, so many 13-day ceremonies everyone has. So we asked discreetly, I asked, Swami said, no need for a father, don't do anything, no need. Just call a pujari to home to do some purification. He'll sprinkle some holy water. That's all. Instead, I will do Narayan Seva for your father. Okay, he asked. He's asking me permission. Narayan Seva in chases no? Sarina, okay now. Swami, yes. Then he is discussing with me. See, there are two construction groups here. L&T construction group, about 250 workers are there. So Chirinjirao Garu is also next to Swami, the secretary of the township. And Nagarjuna, another construction group, about 300 workers, totally 550 workers. 550 workers, enough, no? Looking at me, I was amazed the way Swami is discussing. He's showing me that respect. My father, he's arranging, but still is consulting me. So I'll arrange for Narayan Seva. Okay, there's no need for any other ceremonies for a father. That's the thing. Then he called us for interview. Then in that interview, Swami showered grace. My brother had something to ask. He was running a samiti in his native place. He asked, there are some difficulties. Swami told him, do service. He took that as a mantra next 20 years. So much he did. Once upon a time, he was anti-Swami. He didn't allow my father to put a photograph of Swami. He turned such a staunch devotee. Even now, at the ripe age of 74, even though he had a 3 bypass surgery and a gallbladder surgery, he is still active. He does work. So to his wife, my sister-in-law. My sister had some demands. Swami fulfilled. My brother-in-law had something. Swami fulfilled. My niece, brother's daughter, she wanted to do some subject. Swami said, it'll be difficult for you. No, Swami, I want to do that. Okay, Swami, I am there for you. Like that report. Then it came to mother. Mother asked Swami, I don't want to leave Prashant Liam. Don't leave. Swami, I want to live in the same quarter. Stay. Swami, permission. Yes, I will tell Chakravarti. Chakravarti was in charge. Swami told me, go tell Chakravarti that I told. Swami, please, if you also, Swami, Neeru kuda chepte, if you also. Cheptanu. Next day, Swami told. I see the amount of administration that Swami has to bear in mind. He doesn't carry a diary, but he had told the next day, he had told, informed. And when I went and inquired, yes, Swami has told you can stay. He just gave us a flat. For father's services and my mother's devotion for the girl, I have no idea. My mother asked, can I stay there? Yes, you stay there. You go visit your son for some time, visit your daughter for some time, come back and settle down here. I'll take care of you. Everyone expected that Swami will transfer me to Prashant Liam, department to department, to different campus, no problem, because mother is alone. All were eagerly waiting. They told me you ask. I said, I won't ask. But if Swami tells me, I will come. I'm ready. But I won't on my own ask. And Swami told my mother, see, Subramaniam is in Vrindavan. 3 or 4 times in a year, he keeps coming to Parthi. He'll be with you. So what's your problem? And looked at me. You come and go, no? Yes, Swami. That's it. Be happy. Stay with me. That's what Swami told and fulfilled her wish. And she stayed there for 13 long years. 13 from 97 till 2010, she stayed. And then in 2010, she got a brain stroke that started the final saga in her life and fulfilling another wish of mine. So many people used to tell my mother, even I told also twice, Amma, you're staying alone, no? Others, Amma, you're staying alone, no? Who said I'm alone? Swami is with me. With that confidence, she used to say that. And that protected her till the end. There's so many miraculous events surrounding her last few years and even her death. So many events happened. But I'll stop here now. I'm very grateful to everyone for giving me this opportunity to share my feelings with all of you. Sai Ram. Swami was like dressed like a sannyasi, was a sannyasi, but he was also the great Kutumbi. He ran a family physically. When Swami said, I lead a pure life. Pure life. So one of the benefits of that is that I'm very physically strong. Then he asked one boy, who was a well-built, very strong fellow, muscular. Swami said, shall we have this hand wrestling? Swami said, offered, come. That boy had the guts to say, Swami, you'll use a divine power, you'll win. Swami said, no, I will not use my divine power. I'll use only my physical power. The table was set up. They held each other. 1 second, the next second, hand was down. The boy's hand was down. So I said, that's because of my purity. My sight is pure. My mind is pure. I'm very strong. I remember 1 or 2 incidents where during darshan, out of sheer emotion, fervor, devotional fervor, one devotee got up, came rushing from a distance, came to hug Swami. The people behind Swami who were supposed to be take care of security, they were so stunned, taken aback, they just stood there. They froze. The person came rushing like this, arms spread out, came rushing, came to Swami. When he was about 2 feet away, I still remember the sight. I was seated beside I was part of the security cordon. He just stretched his arm with the middle finger, 1 or 2 fingers. He touched that man's chest. Just reached out and touched. The man went back staggering for 4 or 5 feet. Didn't fall down, went back staggering. Meantime, other Sevadal volunteers came and held him. The Swami very calmly continued with the darshan. Passed by him and he was held. One Swami told, I don't need any protection. I don't need any security. But I will not protect myself. It's not my job. This body is for you. It's you devotees. It's your responsibility to protect this body. If you don't, it'll go. For me, this body, I am I. This body is not important to me. He said that. You have to protect this body. It's for your sake, your benefit. So like that, in a very physical way, he used to say, and out of that will come some great subtle truth. He went through the motion. The people nearby, living with him now, around him, for their satisfaction, they brushing his teeth or combing his hair. Once, Swami was interacting with students. He had just come from his room, inner room. He said, look at my hair. It is so curly. All your ordinary comb, flat comb, it's no use. I have a special comb. And it's iron comb. You want to see? He went inside his room, brought out a round, round brush, long and cylindrical brush with bristles coming out. And he showed to us, it's not just plastic or soft. It's hard iron rods. And then he showed us, see, this is how I comb my hair. Such human level you can go. Come down to the human. One Swami told, God comes down to the human level so that he can take the humans to the God level. Raise you up. Many went astray, says Swami, that's all. That's it. Many went away. After seeing hundreds of things, they got this one. Once, Swami, in those days, Swami used to perform Vibhuti Abhishekam. Kasturiji used to hold the pot. Swami will put his hand inside the empty pot, swirl it, Vibhuti will flow on Shri Baba's statue. He went through all that. He created Vibhuti. Then afterwards, the Vibhuti will be wiped away, removed. Swami will wipe Shri Baba's statue with the cloth. I've seen it 4 or 5 times. I've seen. He used to wipe. And then he will put one shawl around. One of the years, this I have not seen. I have only read about it. One of the times, Swami created a diamond stone, put it on Shri Baba's idol, silver idol, diamond stone, placed it there, it stuck, it remained. Diamond stone, just a stone. He walked away casually, as if he had applied Chandan or Kumkum. He walked away. Because there on the stage, Bhagwantam was there. His scientific mind, Kasturiji writes, it's not my words, Kasturiji writes, his scientific mind went into a whirl. How can stone, carbon, diamond stick to this? What paste Swami would have created to make it stick? His mind was going in a scientific way. Swami passed by him across the stage. Swami said, yeah, as if he's talking to somebody, he didn't look at Bhagavan. Swami said, the fellow in Telugu, I'm just translating it, the fellow who could create the diamond, can't that fellow make it stick? Okay. In our college, in the morning, we have a prayer hall session in all Swamis, in the Swamis Institute. 15-minute prayer session. After the Sarvadharma prayer, we get about 12 minutes to speak. The students speak, teachers speak. Teachers can choose a topic. Students also can choose a topic. When teachers speak, they speak for 4 sessions. They speak on a theme. As I was speaking, I had chosen the life of one Christian saint. I will not tell the name because that's part of the experience. About a nobleman in Italy. Was an ordinary nobleman, rich and all habits. But one fine day, after hearing Jesus, one priest speaking about Jesus and about his apostles, he got transformed just by hearing that. He wanted to live like an apostle, undergo all that poverty and all that. So he gave up everything and changed over. Some of you might have guessed it. Please don't tell. Okay, that is also an part of that experience. So I was narrating that experience. I wanted to keep that impact. So I didn't say who that person is. I kept saying monk, monk. In the last 1 minute, I wanted to reveal the name. So I was telling, at one stage, I was telling that this monk, he had started a new monastic order. He's gained disciples and he set up rules. And his basic principle was, I was saying like that, he believed in or he practiced, he wanted his disciples also to practice. At that moment, you know how a prayer hall is. We stand and speak at a podium. To the left, there will be Swami's throne. On the throne, you know, typically how we, in every summit, everywhere we do all centers, the throne will have the top, at the top 3 designs like this coming out. We'll place 2 flowers. Then on the arms of there, we'll place flowers. Then on the below footstool, flowers will be arranged. Mainly at the top, flowers will be placed at the top. So when I said, I was saying suddenly a flash, the throne was to my left. Some flash caught my eye. I turned to the left. I saw one of the flowers at the top edge of the throne. It fell down, toppled down, fell on the arm of the chair. It all took quite a few seconds, probably 5-6 more seconds. It fell in slow motion, fell on the arm. From that, it rolled. It was this marigold flower. It rolled down to the seat, kept rolling along the base of the chair, went down to the footstool. There, it finally came to rest among the flowers there. You can imagine how much time it would have taken. Everybody watching that. I stopped. I continued where I left. Luckily, I noted where I left. I continued. It was the middle of a sentence. I continued and finished. It got over. Came out a nice, all must have enjoyed. One boy came running as the boys were dispersing for the class. Sir, you saw the flower falling. Yes, man, I saw. I stopped my speech. I saw. You know, when it happened, you know what you are saying? You know, when you are saying faith and sacrifice, that moment the flower fell. I was struck by it. When you said faith and sacrifice, I was struck by it. At that time, the flower fell. Oh, nice. I said, go for class. I also had class. Finished the class, came out. One of the boys from the class came running behind. Sir, you have a time. I had next period. I was running for the next period, next classroom. Sir, you saw the flower falling. You know, when it happened, I was about to say something, told me keep quiet. I kept quiet. What happened? Sir, I was thinking, you've been always speaking about, you're speaking about a Christian monk. And because in the end, I revealed the name. You're speaking about a Christian monk. And many times, I'm in 3rd year now. The 1st and 2nd year also, 2-3 times I've spoken about Christianity. Swami believes in secularism. Why this sir is speaking only about Christianity and Christian people? Will Swami like this? Does it have Swami's approval? The flower fell. Oh, he was convinced. Okay. I was also very happy. The day passed. Evening, I had many periods a day. I was relaxing. One boy came. Sir, you saw the flower falling today. I said, wow, Swami, one more. I said, yeah. You know when it happened? I said, I don't know. He said, sir, when you said monk, immediately I recognized the story. But somehow the name of that saint was not coming to my mouth, to my mind. It was on the tip of the tongue. Then I started praying, Swami, I should get the name before sir says that name. I should get it for Swami. And suddenly the name struck me, Saint Francis de Assisi. Francis, and the flower fell. That's what happened. So 3 boys' wishes fulfilled, and I became an unwitting instrument for that.